You're good, you. Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah, all right. Thank you. What a great crowd. What a great crowd. All through. Here we are.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. Christopher J., Barbie, everything and nothing. This is us. This is why we're here. To discuss. All right, I just made that up. Who are you? No. We can just dive right into something that may be current, or if you have some other thoughts about things. We want people to participate. We want people to share their opinions. We're not looking to be divisive. We're looking to bring people together, to unite, share opinions. I mean, we can have, there should be discussion where we can agree to disagree. I think one of the things that I'm hoping for is that we can get people involved, whether it's in the beginning, you know, with texts, with messages, and then live, and create discussion and have conversations, and everything shouldn't be, you know, fuck you. Oh, can I say that? Which is too much of what it is more now. There's no cooperation. We talk about, you pick up the news, you look what's going on in the government, look in the world, in society, and it's gotten worse. And are we going to save the world? Absolutely. We're gonna change things. You, me, we're going to take over the world with this, or maybe
no, we're not.
But you know, your thoughts.
My thoughts is people suck. Plain out, simple. I suck. Many things. So no, I'm only kidding. I'm sorry. I know we're not airing that anyway.
But if you start from that baseline, okay, you all suck. So we all suck. How do we start? Where do we go from there?
Well, you were asking me my opinion. My opinion is most people in this world today suck. We all suck in a sense. I hate getting politically involved. That's why I said I'll leave that all up to you. I'll listen. Let people. I hate. You know that. Don't say, oh. I don't like sharing my opinions because it could get ugly. I'm not saying between me and you. I'm going to say with other people. You want that? That's great. I'll sit and listen. I might say certain things. I don't get involved because I've been around. I'm here. I hear it every single day.
Yeah.
And I see how so many people, like I've seen so many good people, good-hearted people,
right,
loving. Like I would never think that particular subject could twist a person and make them the meanest. And granted, everybody has a right to choose who they want to be president, feel who they want to be governor, whatever. It doesn't matter who it is. Anything in politics, you have the right to choose how you feel and what you want, your beliefs. It's not changing anything. It's really not. You could vote and but if it doesn't work out the way you feel you wanted it to, are you gonna? What could we do? Yes, we could unite some way, but it seems like all these years, all these presidencies, and everybody talks and and everybody looks to get together, but there's still sometimes no changes. And
change is indeed slow, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like. Everybody has the right to talk and speak, but sometimes it just doesn't change. It doesn't.
Yeah.
But my point is like I've seen people so good, so this, so that, and then just literally, I don't know what happens. A switch flips because if you're a Biden fan, just like Biden, not even what he's talking about, just Biden himself, and you love everything about him and what he's doing for the country. Everything, mostly. Somebody can't, even if it has nothing to, because right now it's all about Biden and Trump. But even if it was beforehand and they brought up something that Biden did, all of a sudden, you can't say nothing to these people. Mm-hmm. That's it. You're a fucking asshole. This is why I sit there and go, what? Anybody that talks about Biden, they're fucking stupid. They're stupid people. They don't know what... And I'm like, why are they stupid? because they have a different opinion? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm not. It doesn't have to be for Trump. Anybody that votes for Trump is a fucking moron. And I sit here and go, wow, that's pretty bad. So you think you're the smartest person in the world? Biden is the most smartest person because he's really doing great things for America. Trump is an asshole because he's fucking up bad. And like,
well, that's I think we touched on it though, which is a good thing to discuss. Why has it gotten so filled with such hatred? You know, I know people have felt so disillusioned, and they've felt marginalized over the years, and don't trust politicians, and you know, you look what's happened over the past 40 years. Let's talk about money, because that's really often what it boils down to. You know, your dollar's not going to buy, doesn't have the purchasing power that it had. You know, people are working more, they're getting less, they're tired, they're frustrated, they're angry. You know, I think
exactly. And let me just butt in for that for a minute. Now here we go. Here's a good subject. See, and I hate getting involved, but this is what makes me think. You're right. A lot of people talk about money and everything that's going up. The taxes, they can't afford food. I'm one of them. Can't afford food. The electric's going up. The gas is going up. The property taxes. Everything's going up. Everything's going up. The pay is not good enough. 2 incomes, 3 incomes sometimes, depending on the job you have. But for the middle class.
Right.
But now we're talking as far as trying to help the economy and this and that. Now, granted, I just recently heard of quite a few people talk about it, and I have to sit here and shake my head. And I don't care if it was Trump that did it, this one that did. I don't even care if Biden did it, because it works both ways. But when Trump handed out those stimulus checks, and everybody was, I hate to say it, because it was Biden and all this, and they started ripping, what's his name? Obama. Like, everybody brings in another president. Here's Trump as the president, and the stimulus checks were coming in. And then all the other presidents, why didn't they do it? Why didn't Obama? Blah, blah, blah. But you all knew how to cash the check, right? You don't hear nothing about them going, I don't want this, and ripping it up. Because there was quite a few of them handed out. Everybody fucking hates.
Right. Yeah.
But you knew how to take the money and cash it.
Right. A good point.
Why didn't you take it and say, you know what? I don't need it. I don't want it. Even if you did need it and you were desperate, but you can't stand him.
Make a point and principle. Right.
Donate it.
Yeah.
Take that check. If you don't fucking want his money or his thing, I'm just bringing out a point. Then donate it.
That's a good point. You're right.
Donate it. You fucking, everybody has something to say. And like I said, it wouldn't matter who did it. It's always...
Well, you know, here's what I thought about. I mean, I know that when it comes to the political parties, you know, it's about power. Each person wants to be at the top, to be in the control, and make the decisions. You know, and I can go back in history. This country has had, like, I love America. I'm an American. You know, I was born here, and I grew up here. I worked here all my life, and I'm happy to be able to have the freedom to talk like this and be an American. Does this country, of course, have problems and needs serious solutions? Absolutely. But I think you and I were talking about this the other day. The problem has become that it used to be more so, say, Republicans, Democrats, the 2 major parties, them against the problem. Mm-hmm. Having differences of opinion, yes, have different policy, you know, ideas, principles, yeah, but still working against whatever particular problem. If it was inflation, if it was, you know, if there was a war,
right? Nothing
unites a country like a war, God, but we get more of those, or a disaster of some kind, God forbid. Right. But when it becomes, which it is now, all the Republicans are bad, all the Democrats are bad, all the conservatives are bad, all the liberals are bad. That doesn't solve anything.
No,
And
it's like they're fighting against each other instead of the people. It's
Yes,
like they're fighting and they're making the people choose, and
Right.
that's not. It's not about you or me or him. It's about everybody. You got to go do what's right for everyone, not just for you and me.
And that's it. That we get very tribal, and it's just this. It's our team. You know, I remember this. I don't know if I told you this. I wrote a piece to the local newspaper years ago. I think it was for Memorial Day, actually. And I couldn't find it. I was looking for it this morning, and I was like, but I was talking about the flag. And I said, you know, the flag is, we call it the red, white, and blue. And I wrote, and I thought, you know, the flag is made up of red and blue. Red states, blue states, though that's not the reason, of course, with that.
Right.
But I just thought about how, you know, there's red people and blue people.
No, it's true when you think about it.
White. And so my point was, white is a blank, you know, it's a blank canvas.
It's colorless, yeah.
You know? So I said in the letter to the editor, I said, so we can write on that whatever we want. We create, we can build, we can, you know, we have a blank canvas of freedom and liberty if we unite to write what we want, and with red and blue states, people. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was just kind of an interesting outlook on it, that we've lost that. You know, the white canvas, you know, the blank space to create, that's gone. And now it's just the red and the blue. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I was saying to somebody there, I said, you know, if this keeps going, no matter who is in office, because, you know, there's going to be, the country is pretty much divided, you know, almost in half for the most part. Yeah, there's swing voters and things like that and undecided, but do we really want a war? Do we really? And
we don't need
it's not
it.
going to be a war like it was in the 1860s,
right?
But still, do we need more division? Do we need more hatred? And you know,
no, there's enough of it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah. You know, everybody complains, bullshits, moans, presidencies, this, that. You know what? For all the years, there was good points and bad points. You know, you'll find good in some things Trump has done. You'll find a lot of bad things.
And I've said that.
You'll find good things that Biden's done. You'll find a lot of bad things that Biden's done.
And I actually did that because you know, regardless of you know, my leanings, and I don't probably need to say it doesn't really matter. It's just mine. But if I told someone, I said, you know, there was a piece of legislation that Trump signed that I was totally happy about. Had to do with animal rights. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, I'm a big animal person. And he signed that into law. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yes. And some friends of mine who were more Trump supporters, which I tend not to be overall, they were shocked. They go, you said something nice about Trump. I said, I go by the policy. Mm-hmm. I don't go by the person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
him per se.
Every politician. Are you kidding? If you look deep enough, you're going to find something. Some people have a lot more skeletons in their closet. A lot of people, but you know what? These are not messiahs. These are people, and where there's people, there's problems. There's personality. There's ego. But if you do something that I agree with, then I'm going to say I support that. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with Biden. There's things that he's done, but I can't stand.
Yeah,
I can't. I throw my head up and go, Jesus, this is, you know, and so all in all, I'm not happy with either choice. To be totally honest, you know. And I'm a voter, but I'm unaffiliated.
Right.
I'm not registered under any party, and throughout my life, I have voted on both sides of the aisle, based on who I thought, you know. Could be a more effective leader and all that. So how do we, you know, how does this country,
That's the problem. I think it's more or less nobody's focusing on what they could do for us. the country. They're focusing more on how stupid they are, like as a person, or how they're looking at the background, what Trump did years ago with the women and the cases and obviously. But why? Do you do any better in your? I'm not you per se. I'm saying the person. Why? Doesn't mean you're a bad person overall, but have you done great shit in your life? People fail all the time. People screw up all the time. People, none of us are perfect. You can't look at me and then not say, oh, well, like 1 minute say, oh my God, she did an amazing job with that. And oh my God, Barbie was wonderful when she worked for the company and she did this and did that. And then I did something wrong. I don't know. I robbed a pack of gum from the store and I got arrested for it and they made a big deal out of it. Or I fucking had an affair from my husband or that. Right away, all of that gets blown up. And then I am the biggest piece of shit that ever walked the earth.
What kind of gum was it?
It was Bubblicious. The good shit.
Oh, that's serious. Okay.
It is, but that's why I got arrested. No, I'm only kidding. But I'm just bringing up a point. You could be the best person in the world. You could do great. Christopher's amazing. Oh, did you see him do that? And he helped billions of people, and he's always been there, and him and his wife, and oh my God, and rant, rave, go crazy about you. But once you get into something,
keep going.
Shut up. I'm being serious.
Sorry. It felt good.
I gave you fucking time to talk.
Sorry. I was encouraging you.
I'm being serious. That's not encouraging. That's making fun as I'm talking.
No.
About something
No.
that's truthful.
Okay. Sorry. But you're bringing up, again, an amazing point. How do you get that across to...
You don't, though. That's it. When somebody has hate for another person so bad, resentment on any level, I don't care who you are, they're not going to see the good they do. And if they happen to be doing bad, they're just going to keep bashing them even more. They're looking at the person. They're not looking at what they're doing for everybody else.
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems like it's so a daunting task to where to go from here. So rather than throw up our hands and go, well, nothing's going to get done, and we're going to go to hell in a handbasket here or whatever.
Because that's how it seems. That's how it seems. They look at so much of the person themselves or what they've done in the past or what they even done today. And again, here we go. We're using Biden and Trump because this is it. This is what's going on right now. But they're gonna look at Biden and all that person, and because they keep making him. He's Alzheimer's and he's an asshole and he falls down the stairs and all that shit. And everybody makes fun and laughs and he's a jerk off and his wife stayed. It's constant person bashing, not even the fact. And then obviously because he's the president, they're using that. Oh, like we really fucking need an idiot like that to be. Listen, granted, I get it, but now the good that he's actually maybe doing, what are you gonna do? Look past that or? Because you just don't like him as a person, you're not gonna put him on a pedestal for certain things that he's done good. Not everything. He hasn't done a lot of shit that's good.
And I think though, in order to unpack this, because it seems like it's such a tight knot of just anger and resentment, and we have to go back. How did we get here? Because I said to someone, and I heard this from somebody else. I didn't make this thought up, but. If you look at the one who has most of the news coverage is Trump. He's got the trials and everything, and love him or hate him, he's definitely become a political force in the Republican Party, especially that cannot be ignored. But he's a result. He's not the cause. He's just tapped into a nerve that so much of this country resonates with such anger, and he's using it. You know, he's not the first person to do that.
Right.
You know,
but it's just, I think it's because he was so well known for his money and his power years ago. He had hate and love from before the presidency ever. He's had hate and love from so many people. Then when he became president, it's like, oh, this big deal. But it just gets crazy. It just amazes me because it's like same thing. He's done good. He's also done bad.
Well,
what is the person like? What are you doing? I can't explain it without because it always sounds like they just go for the person themselves. They're just basing on the hate that they have for the person. So they're using that.
Yeah, I think people look for a scapegoat, you know, or it's what they think they represent. You know, it's like people talk about. Oh, here comes my cat. You know, if you ask anybody, we talked about Trump. You know, why do you like Trump? And they'll say a couple of things, what they believe, you know, he stands for, and this is what they want. The values that he's talking about, they believe in and they want. But when you break that down, this is where the issue goes. All right, you know, if you want to use a slogan, "Make America Great Again," all right, what does that mean? Unpack that. What does that really mean? Is it not great now? All right, it's not great. You're saying make it great again. So it's like, well, what do you want to change? Now, people are going to bring up immigration. All right, yes. Does there need to be a sensible policy for immigration? Absolutely. You just can't open up the doors and everyone comes in. You know, I was saying this to Marion. I said, if I was president, here's how I'd handle immigration. I said, there comes my cat walking across. You want to come into this country illegally? He has an opinion. Guess what? You just joined the Army. You're 18 or older. You just volunteered. We have you for 4 years. We'll feed you. We'll clothe you. You get a job. You'll make money, but you're gonna serve this country, and you're gonna get taxed on your dollars like anybody else. If you don't want that, you got 72 hours to go back where you came from. And for the people that are already here, guess what? You just joined the Army or the Navy or whatever.
Right. Well, that's right.
And there used to be a thing.
I can guarantee you they won't do it. They'd go right back to where they came from.
There you go. Problem solved. Also, if you don't like the military aspect, this happened in the 30s. Franklin Roosevelt did this. He built an organization, or the government created an organization called the Civilian Conservation Corps, the CCC. And that was sort of like a I guess like a military, but they worked in the land, the fields. They were conservation. They trained them. I had neighbors that I grew up with that were, you know, older neighbors. When they were young men, this is what they did. Instead of a gun, they had a shovel. And they lived in barracks, or they lived in, you know, camps.
They worked. They right.
Right. So
but they wanted. Well, I'm sure they wanted to be here, so they did what they had to do.
This was to stimulate the economy. This was just Americans, you know, doing it. You know, but the principle was good though. Put people to work. You know, put them to work, and
well.
Anyway, so that's just.
We have a lot of immigrants working, making decent money.
Well, they need to be taxed like everybody else.
Yeah, well, some of them don't. And then they take their money and they obviously send it back to their country, and they're living beautiful. Good for you. But you're here in America making great money and sending it back where our money is better. And I hate to say it, but it's the truth. And I know a lot of people that suffer, that lived here their whole life, that worked their whole life and can't get a fucking dollar. But listen, I've worked for a long time, and I see what people get, and it amazes me. And I'm sorry. I've asked questions. I didn't just assume. How did you get that? I was a woman. Now, my husband works, has a great job. The insurance was great. But to an extent where It wasn't. It didn't cover certain things. In my I can't say it. In my life, tried having a baby, wanted to be a mother. Couldn't get pregnant on my own. I had to go to doctors. I had to be on medication. I've had to be on shots. I've had to go to fertility specialists. My body has been through more shit in years than a lot of people. I'm not even going to get too fully into it. Till the beginning of our trial and all the bullshit and heartache and hormonal changes and getting pregnant and having 5 miscarriages. But through all of that, nerves, finding out we don't have the coverage for that. Where am I getting $30,000 to pay them back? And that was only one time. Couldn't afford my next thing through all of that bullshit, all the fucking years of torture. I don't have the money saved for that either. We had to live. We have bills to pay. And it doesn't matter if my husband has a great job or not. Some of us just don't have what other people have had in their life. And we've made mistakes. And we made mistakes in helping others. I wouldn't say that's a mistake. I did what I did because I have a good heart and, whatever. But never had that money that I could sit there and go, let me do this. Or I had a house to put up. And my next step was to get in vitro fertilization. Like they thought that was the thing that was going to work. And I know people personally that had to do it 2 and 3 times, and it costs thousands upon thousands of dollars. Because not only do you need to do what I did with the shots, which costs a few thousand, then you got to pay for the in vitro. And it's mind-blowing how expensive it is just to have a child, and you want to be a mother, and he wants to be a father, and whatever. Couldn't happen. Can't afford it. Couldn't get help. Couldn't get out. I had his parents help in the beginning. They paid for shots because everybody wanted to see me pregnant. I've had hospitals, doctors offer to give them. People donated medicine, so I was on the donation list because I couldn't afford it. And then I see people. Granted, I had 5 miscarriages. I had to stop. It was the worst time of my life. I see people. Different races. I'm not putting anybody down. Come in the store, and I know what they're going through. I've worked with a couple of people, and they're on food stamps, and boy, do they get food stamps. And I'm like, you aren't even using the money. The government's supposed to take that away at the end of the month. If you're getting awarded $200 to feed you and your family, your husband, whatever, they're supposed to take that, and then the new month starts. Whatever you don't finish in that month of that $200, government's supposed to take it, whatever's left, even if it's $1, and then the new beginning of the month starts you off with another $200. Well, the government wasn't doing that, so these people, God forgive me, a lot of immigrants, a lot of American people knew how to fuck the system. They're no better. Walking around with houses, brand new cars, Coach bags, and they all have 100 food stamp cards. Wow, they really know how to ram it. And the people that fucking need it can't get it. But yous are all getting away with it. And it was building up and building up. How are you eating? You're eating? Because I thought you needed money. And then I'd look at their card and see that they have a fucking cash balance of $3,500. Food stamps, $2,000, $6,000. Are you kidding me? Something's going wrong somewhere, and it's still happening today. That's number 1. Number 2, I thought she couldn't have children. Oh, she couldn't. He's had a baby. Congratulations. I'm happy for them. But what happened is I'm thinking it's all, in vitro. How did you afford that? How did you afford that? Government paid for it. Nice. But I can't get that. I can't get it. And I know a lot of people that don't know how to speak English, that came into this country, that live in New York, and they're getting all this stuff. And it's driving me crazy because I can't be a mother, but these women are getting all this infertility medicine and stuff for free. And they're popping them out left and right.
I mean,
I don't feel, I'm sorry. And I'm not saying it because there's just, to me, that's not right. And I'm not saying it just because of me. I know many women because we were in groups. We've all tried. Whose husband had it? Who stopped? Who couldn't afford it? We've seen this around us, and it's heartbreaking.
Well, it is. I can see the heartbreak, in your voice, see it in your face, and it's tragic. So it's again, just like we mentioned before about a sensible immigration policy, and like I said, it's not just immigrants either. Anybody can abuse the system, but still,
and they do.
Healthcare, the situation. My cat's now. He's just, what can be done to change? Look at the insurance industry. Talk about another scam, another problem. How the insurance industry is getting involved in trying to control and take more money and pay less. And oh my God, don't even, it's another whole thing. But where do we start? Where do you start? You're talking about, the inequality. Why are people getting stuff for free? And I'll say, if you're not a citizen, you should not be entitled to this.
No.
You have to be a citizen. Stop it, Andy.
And then they claim that they are, and they got, but
so something in the system that
it's not working. Yes, it's something in the system is not fully working right. Not saying none of them deserve it, but what happened to us, the people that are working?
I don't know how you design something like that says we're just going to start giving money away or resources. And again, I'm not as knowledgeable as all these things in much more detail. A lot of people probably can teach me a lot about how these things work or don't work. But I know enough to say, there's a lack of. You see, you have to have two things. Laws, a government should be compassionate to people, yes, but you have to be smart. You got to be wise. You have to have the two. You can't just be, do things logically and smart without having compassion and empathy. But you can't have all this empathy and compassion and you not be wise at the same. The two have to work together. And so, yeah, you want to help people that need resources, but you got to be wise about it. How is this being done? Who's paying for it? Who's being best served? I mean, it can't be. America is not the reservoir of help for the entire world.
No, it's not.
We're not.
It's not.
We got a lot of our own problems that we have to solve. Just for Americans, yes, we are part of this world. Our other countries are our neighbors, but we're not the cop of the world.
No, but they use the whole land of the free, home of the brave. Yes, it's a wonderful. America's beautiful. Yes, but
that actually
you're taking advantage of the land of the free and the home of the brave, and the people that are fucking here running America aren't doing. I don't know. I just see this is where I said I didn't want to get politically older, but it's bending me out of shape because it makes me sad. I remember a woman that I took care of at the store. Oh, she was so cute. She lived to be 103, if I'm not mistaken. She had a sick son that's still alive. He had Down syndrome. She had her other son, her daughters. I know her daughters are still alive, whatever. She died a few years back. And I remember her. Hi, Josie. She's coming in the store. She would buy her little groceries, give us her food stamp card, and she would have to maybe put on a bill or whatever, and she'd give it to us when she got her check, and she is still paying rent, still taking care of her son. She had an aide after a while because there's only so much you could do at 90, 91.
Right.
And she always used to say, she wanted him to live forever, but she was always afraid to die before her sick son. She didn't know who would take care of him. But she died before him. He's still alive, and thank God he's being taken care of. But I used to look at her and go, Josie, where's your money? And she'd go, it's there. I'd say, Josie, what did they give you? And I'd look at her. That would piss me off so bad. She would get $10 a month.
Oh, Jesus.
In food stamps. Because the government thought her checks were too much.
Oh, my God. Oh.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Too much? Her son has Down syndrome. Her children, yeah, they help her when they can, but that don't mean my mother couldn't do it. Yeah. They wouldn't even give it to my mother. My mother's Social Security check and her other check did not cover her rent and her bills.
Yeah.
What about food? What about transportation? What about living?
Yeah.
So you depend on family, your kids.
Yeah.
And the same thing, when I was going through what I went through, when my husband's parents helped, my mother couldn't do it. My mother couldn't do it. When I lived at home, and me and my husband, we were dating and we were getting married, I gave my mother money every week because I lived there with her. Mm-hmm. So whatever I made, even if it was just a little bit, that money that I gave her, like I couldn't not, I part of me at that time felt like I'm paying for my own wedding gown. My father was dead. My mother didn't have nothing. So whatever I gave her, she was saying that she used it towards, and I gave her that ability to say that because she was my mother. But she didn't have money. The government wouldn't, they kept turning her down for food stamps. But yet, you came into this country, and I can't get over it. It just blows my mind.
Have like nothing, like, less than, God rest her soul, your mother who worked here, and, but they considered the fact that she had a little bit of something. It's almost like they have to go to someone who's got zero in their pocket. Okay, you're going to get everything, and the person that's got a little, you get nothing. It's so the inequality of it at that level.
How do you expect people to live?
Right. No, I got.
If I can't afford to live anywhere, you're not going to give me a place to live, but you're giving everybody else a place to live. So the little bit that I have to pay rent and gas and electric and my telephone and whatever, food for the month, you're not even giving me enough for food stamps.
No,
they gave that woman $10 a month in food stamps. $10. And back then, a thing of fucking milk and some eggs, and you couldn't do it. You couldn't buy eggs, milk, and butter for $10.
yeah,
And this was years ago. Now?
yeah,
Are you kidding me?
yeah.
What the fuck? Are you kidding me? That pisses me the hell off.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just wrong. It's just wrong.
What you're expressing, and I appreciate you, being very vulnerable and all. But this is how a lot of people feel, just like this. Maybe even more so about other issues as well. And my hope is that we can at least start to share and talk. Yeah, there's going to be anger. Yeah, there's going to be disagreement. But if there's a way to channel this very real energy, the anger, the hurt, and we got to find remedies. We got to find some solutions here. We can't. This cannot continue, or there's going to be war of different kinds. I mean, people are going to die. The frustrations and the level of resentment, the pain, the despair. The society will destroy ourselves.
And those are the same people that would say, my child ain't going to fight for this. I'm not going to make my son die or my daughter die or this one die. And These are the same people that will. I'm saying it like if you going if we're going to war and your kids have to go, like years ago you were what 18 I think at the time 17 or 18 and you got drafted no matter what.
Yeah.
Back in the what was that the 50s?
Well, no, they stopped the draft in the early 70s, but yeah.
Right, but I'm saying back then that was it. Once you were 18, you drafted you. That was it. They don't have that today. They don't do that no more.
No. No.
But that's what you'll hear. Thank God my child ain't going to fight for what? Listen.
I mean, there's going to, this country is on shaky ground. It's fragile. We talk about democracy, talk about freedom. Those things have to be cultivated and sustained. Just because we're a country that we are, these things can erode, and which liberties have diminished, and again, the inequality that you talked about, and you struck a really powerful nerve. And a lot of the anger you're expressing, and rightly so, many people have, but then there's areas where it gets off the rails, and they start to then they're hating everybody, and it's this person's fault, it's that presidency's fault, this political party. And yes, I think the parties need to really reevaluate themselves. Someone asked me what I thought the difference between the Republicans and the Democrats was, and I had a little. I think I told you about this. I had a little idea that the Republicans, for the most part, they're often accused of not caring about enough people. They're very conservative. They're narrow in terms of they favor the rich, so to speak. That's the common, description about them. Big business. Whereas the Democrats, they were more for labor, for the worker, for the poor people, but they try to please everybody. There's the and so they don't make anybody happy. You can't please everybody, and which I think Democrats, they cast such a wide net, and the Republicans, they're only focusing on a more of a narrow segment. So of course they're not making everybody happy.
Right.
So given these two ways, and maybe that's a very simplistic way of looking at it, but I think there's some truth in it. Well, how do we come together? I think it was Eisenhower, president back in the 50s, Republican. He said the most effective government is both conservative and liberal. Both of those things can coexist. So given what the conservative ideas are, what the liberal ideas are, how do we put this somehow in a mix and start to come up with some solutions? It doesn't have to be all.
Got to compromise. Somewhere they have to compromise.
Right.
It might take a lot of battling between the both of them, which it has before. And sometimes it's in favor of one and not the other, but you've got to compromise. Right. And it always comes down to fucking money. Everything comes down to the almighty dollar.
That's right. And that's what America was built on, So who gets the money and how much do they get and who doesn't get it and why? And so, the middle class has shrunk and shrunk. I think it was back in, by the late 60s, early 70s. I think at that time, just when I was, coming of age, growing up, it then became untenable for one person to be the wage earner in the house. Of course, in the 50s, it was much more, like the Donna Reed show. Our father knows best. The father goes to work, mother stays home. But that slowly, obviously, started to change. But once you got into the 70s, that really became, I think, almost pretty much non-existent for the most part. And with the middle class getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and so it leaves just the ultra rich, the ultra poor. So where are you going to go? And the middle class has to bear the burden.
Yeah.
Often, so, and people know this, but what do we do? A part of, I think, what is the solution is, and Marion had mentioned this to me in the past, watch where you spend your money. I know, like when you shop and you do retail shopping, well, sometimes you if you don't have a lot of money, you have to buy cheap stuff because you need stuff. And who cares if it comes from China?
Right.
Who cares if it comes from companies that, exploit their workers and don't take care of it? But at the same time, if you withhold your money and try to spend it in different ways or find other ways to, that's where they really got you. Buying cheap shit, and other people being exploited in the process of providing that. But how can we, if you pull together and people say, no, we're not going to patronize this store because of what they do, or we're not going to, buy food from this company, this manufacturer, because what they do, and I told you about being an animal activist in some sorts. We try to be much more mindful of buying stuff that's not tested on animals, for example, little things like that, which people may just think that's stupid and that's silly, it's nonsense, but it means something. I think any way you can alleviate suffering, and we're talking about money, we're talking about immigration, we're talking about healthcare, we're talking about, economy. Any way you can relieve suffering, but in a smart way, not just giving money away, not just, because someone's got to pay for that.
Right.
And
if you're not, then the next person is. So it's not fair.
How can we lessen the suffering? If people are, and this is why people are just so over the top. They don't hear anything more. They just start shouting the rhetoric, and look what happened. We were just talking before, this is just recent, the Robert De Niro, talking outside the courthouse, in New York. And regardless of, again, what side that you're on, he has his opinion. He's been very vocal, and there were people that were heckling him that had their opinion. Okay, case in point. So where do you go? If it's just this, you suck, you're an asshole, you're an asshole.
And I didn't hear the whole thing. I didn't YouTube it. I've been seeing it all over, making fun of him and stuff like that. I don't know the whole story. But I do know people were saying all of a sudden, he's an actor, so he had the right to talk. Like, everybody's supposed to stop and listen to Robert De Niro because he's Robert De Niro. Why all of a sudden now is he becoming all this? Even if he was political, you never heard nothing from him until now. Well, all of a sudden,
this was his first. I mean, he's been more of, I've heard him say things, but this was very now national news because he was right on television, the trial. So it really brought a lot of attention. He's been a little more vocal, where a lot of other actors don't say anything. They prefer not to. But
who cares? Because he's an actor. Like, what gives him the right to be publicized? And
remember, we talked about the one athlete, the one football player who gave the speech,
right,
about women should stay in the kitchen, that kind of a thing, And of course, again,
right. I could understand if he was on a set and they were recording him and he made a comment. And then it got blown out of proportion and you got to go on TV to retract it or talk about it. And then it becomes a big thing. But why all of a sudden, are we supposed to care what Robert De Niro says, whether he's right or wrong?
Well, I think
because he's Robert De Niro. That's what I mean.
Because in the case of athletes, people that are in the public eye, because they're advertised more. So for some reason, people have the illusion that their opinion matters more. Because they have, someone said once the difference between a celebrity and someone who's not is that the celebrity is advertised. That's it.
And does he get paid for that? Or what do we know?
You can name any, or these people that want to become influencers. I love this term, influencer. And I get it. You want to find ways to, but what makes you an expert,
It doesn't. But when people start listening to you, people listen to us?
Right.
We're trying to do something to unite people, and we're not all talking about serious shit. Right now we're talking about politics and this and that, and this is because this is in the now. And we'll probably talk about it later on or whatever. But we're here to have fun. We're here to have a good time. We're here to laugh. We're here to cry. We're here to do everything and nothing. That's why that's our title. But again, we're looking to put ourselves out there, but would anybody care? Would anybody join us? Are we going to get listened to?
We're not looking to promote a product or promote some sort of like to influence people to buy something. Our goal, as we've talked about, is to get people to talk to one of the titles I thought about, our program before we talked about everything was like, just talk, just talk, play on words, because. And it's not just expressing your opinion, but also listening. People have forgot
to listen.
How to listen. It's they're on transmit, they're not on receive. Just
like most men.
Yeah, there you go. What? Anyway, all right. All right.
We had to cut that tension, but truthfully, like this was a good subject for us to get on. I mean, we're 52 minutes into the program,
and it's quite a big splash. I have to say, we didn't know where we were going to go with this. I appreciate you, really bringing so much out, being very very personal in terms of things happening. And we encourage that. We want people to be real. We're not going to spew bullshit.
No. And the same thing goes for you. Everybody has a right to say what they want. And I know I laughed because I'm sitting here going, I don't really like to talk about politics. But yet, as I'm talking, I'm like realizing I'm going, but you're talking about politics. You don't realize it sometimes because you're just being honest. I'm being upfront. I'm saying my problems and what's going on. Right. Because everything we do in life has to do something politically, and everything became politically correct. And that's just the way it is.
All politics is local.
Right.
Where we live, Yeah,
exactly.
It's just like if we start talking about
every day.
Religion. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, who used to be a minister, and we had similar backgrounds working in the church, but we talked about belief, and if people want to, and this is a whole another conversation, but if people want to look for truth, if they want to discover what life is about, or if people want to say God, and if you believe in God or not, or whatever, to say you're a truth seeker is one thing. But if you're just looking to defend what you already believe, that's something else. Mm. So you're talking about being open, and to challenge people about what their religious beliefs are. That's heavy because that goes back to values. What are the values that they admire? And oftentimes they'll equate that with a certain religion. I think this religion will, promote values of morality, ethics, all that, as it should. But I was very intrigued by that. And like with politics, are people just looking to find other people that agree with them? Find more people to defend what I already believe. All right, you can feel very strongly about it. I have no problem with that. But if you feel you have to be right, that you demand that you're in the right and the other person has to be wrong and eliminated because they're that's the problem.
That is the problem, because that's in everything. That's in religion, that's in politics, that's in relationships, that's in marriages, that's in friendships, it's in everything. Yeah. If you feel you're the only one that's right and I'm always going to be wrong, or and you don't want to bother with that person, well, for what? You're going to try to get me into your religion, and I believe a lot of it, and I'm like, oh, that's beautiful, and that's this and that, but it's not for me. Shame on you. I don't want you in my church. You're not supposed to do that either, because you're going back on what is supposed to be believed. You're supposed to accept people, and
you can see how they're similar. It's like you're not part of my political affiliation. The hell with you.
Then I don't want to be bothered with you no more.
You don't believe in God? All right, then the hell with you. You're not
right. That's wrong. That's right there. That's just then you're doing wrong. Right. You're not doing the right thing. You're not. That's wrong. That's the bottom line. Like, think about it.
Yeah.
I want you. You're a wonderful person, and you'd be great for my thing and my community, my church, and you believe in this and you believe in that, and this is what we are about. And thank you. Yes, you're wonderful. I really do love the ideas, and I believe in this and I believe in that. But there's just certain things that I'm a little it's not my.
Yeah.
Well, we don't accept that here, and we don't really. And then all of a sudden, like, the whole face changes and the whole mood changes, and they don't want you.
I grew up Catholic, so conservative, Catholicism. That was my religion of origin. Then I moved away from that as I became a young adult. But then I got involved in evangelical Protestant Christianity, and then it became, a course of study for myself. It became I worked in the church for up until my early 30s, and it was a big part of my early life. I'm different now for a lot of reasons, but however, that level of judgmentalism, the pointing the finger, our interpretation of the Bible is right, and it took
yours is
finger
wrong.
at other religions or people who didn't believe, But the problem with the pointed finger is the pointed finger.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right. But they're not seeing it that way.
No.
They're thinking they're saying everything right and they're good
right.
and they're this, but
Right, exactly. And that's a hard thing to iron out. I mean, people that demand to be right, and it took me a long time to get to the point to say, I can think I'm right. And I can feel pretty, passionate about it, but I don't have to be right. That's the difference now.
right.
If I'm open to if I'm proven wrong, okay. But it has to be something that I have thought out and experienced in my life, where this is what I know to be true for me. I no longer follow stuff or an idea because I was taught that and I didn't question it or didn't, work it out in my own. You talked about all the things that you went through and the horrendous, difficulty you had, all the issues. It's unbelievable. You're amazing. I don't know how.
No, I mean, I've
You're very resilient, and I've told you that before. Everything you've gone through.
seen
but
a lot
for
of
me,
women go through that.
Huh?
I've seen a lot of women go through that, and then some.
But about the suffering, you see, I'm so, taken again aback by the suffering and the pain you've expressed. But that's what made me reevaluate my ethics, my religion, my spirituality, my politics. It's about people, and in this world, people suffer. Mm-hmm. So if you focus on how can we make things better within the,
right.
You're wrong. This is bad. Yeah, all right, but how do we fix it?
Right.
We're here whether we like it or not. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna kill other people just so the world looks like more like you?
No, it's not. That's why that again, it needs to be compromised. No pointing the fingers.
Exactly.
The finger got to go away. And
fortunately, too much of this pointed leads to this point. That's
the truth.
That doesn't work. So. These are 2 points too, but I mean,
right. But these have to come together. That's the thing.
Very good. See, we're doing finger.
Or else. No, I'm only kidding. Ooh. Not good. Sorry, I just had to get that in there.
No, but it's very good. Finger puppetry here.
But listen, until I'm glad we got to talk about all of this. I'm glad it just let us out. We'll have plenty more to talk about.
Yes.
On another episode. Or 2 or 10 or whatever. But It was great. It was great talking. It was great seeing you. And I hope everybody enjoyed. I hope everybody, liked what we had to say. Right. Yeah. Respond. Give us some feedback. Let us know what you think. Today was more on a serious note than it was on a funny note. But that's what this is all about. It's a little bit about everything. We hope you did enjoy it. We hope you look further for more episodes and podcasts from the both of us. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you listening. And we hope you share, like, and subscribe.
Right. Can we go out on a... All right. We'll go on that note.
Love you all. Till next time.